right, hello and welcome back to 10 Minutes of Astrology. Today we are going to be talking about Mars in Leo, starting in July 2032 and going until about September of 2032. Check my housekeeping in the comments for me if you would. Let's get started. So between 1 and 2 degrees, Mars will semi-sextile Saturn in Cancer. Now, you guys know I like to start with what Mars is. It is action, war, determination, motivation, and work ethic. In Leo, it is the kitty cat. So Leo represents the lion of the zodiac. It is the chest. It is the heart. It is courage. It is power. It is being the center of attention. Leo naturally rules the sun, so it is very vibrant. They are the most creative of the zodiac. They are also very family oriented, a lot of fun loving. And the semi-sextile to Saturn in Cancer, I do have a whole video of Saturn in Cancer. If you go to my housekeeping in the comments, you will see a link to my astrology predictions playlist where I put everything in order based on the time period that it happens. So you can find my Saturn in Cancer video there. This semi-sextile, this aspect in astrology is where one sign teaches another sign. So it's always the sign that comes next that teaches the one that it just came from. In this instance, Mars in Leo teaches Saturn in Cancer. Well, what are we learning and what are we teaching? Mars in Leo is actively creative, actively fun, likes to do a lot of creative work and just be kind of making new things and fun things, and just you work for the fun of it. You work for the joy of your life. And this teaches Saturn in Cancer that you got to get out of these emotions that are bogging you down, because Saturn is very stable and Cancer is emotionally unstable. So this teaches you have to do this for the fun of it. Don't get bogged down in these negative emotions that, we have gone through a lot previously. So a lot of what Saturn in Cancer is doing is emotionally processing all the trauma. So that's a whole other thing. But Mars in Leo here is like, you gotta get out of this funk. You gotta get out of this fog. You have to move. You have to find some friends. You gotta have your social life. You do what makes you happy. You gotta try to motivate yourself to be happy and to get out of this. Because Saturn in Cancer just wants to weep and cry about lost family and, things of the past, and just stay stuck in nostalgia. And Mars and Leo is like, no. You're going to have to work on being happy. You're going to have to work on self-love and having fun and finding joy. Then Uranus then goes into Cancer. I do have a Uranus video if you want to check that out. I don't really talk a whole lot about Uranus and Cancer because that's wild, crazy emotions. Then Leo, Mars in Leo opposites Pluto in Aquarius at approximately 13 degrees. So I know I just went from 1 to 2 degrees to 13 degrees. Mars doesn't make any major aspects that I'm going to discuss because I only talk about planets that I've already talked about. So I have done a new Pluto video if you want to go check that out. But Mars in Leo opposite Pluto in Aquarius. Well, oppositions are best friends or worst enemies. They're either going to work or they're not. This is where you make your decisions. This is where free will comes into play. How are you going to handle this? Well, Mars in Leo is very active as far as having fun, doing what you want. It's, just either the lazy cat or it is eye of the tiger and focused. So there's no real in between with Leos. They're either all for it and all in it, or they don't want nothing to do with it. I don't want nothing to do with that. Because it's about them and it's their happiness and it's their joy and it's what they find contentment in. And the opposition to Pluto, which is transforming Aquarius society. So you're doing what you want to make you happy could be going against the collective. It also could be better for the collective because you can't help anyone unless you help yourself first. So I'm going to try and spin this positively because that's what I like to do as a biased astrologer, is to say that the collective is saying, yes, you've got to take care of yourself. And you're telling the collective, I got to take care of me. Leo also does enjoy making sure everybody is okay, not nearly as much so as Cancer, because Cancer will completely forget themselves for everybody else. And Leo wants everybody else to be happy, but it's not going to be to the detriment of themselves. And Mars and Leo can also be more lavish. So the opposition to Pluto here, the negative aspect that could come with it is society is basically saying, it's not all about you, honey. Leo can't handle that truth. Let me tell you right now, Leos cannot handle it's not all about you because they will make it all about them. So the negative aspect here is you're working for you against the collective and the collective is working against you. So we don't want that. We want this to be positive. So we're going to hope that you're working on making you happy is benefiting the collective and the collective is helping make you happy. Then we have a semi-square. I almost never talk about semi-squares because it's math. That's a 45-degree angle. A semi-sextile is a 30-degree angle. So there are some times that I just don't mention things because I don't feel like doing math. But this is a semi-square, which is a small irritating aspect. It's not nearly as powerful as a regular square. And usually semi-squares I like to do on the degree. So this semi-square is to Uranus and Cancer. That's going to be at 0 degrees, and Mars and Leo is going to be at 15 degrees. So this small irritation, Uranus just got into Cancer. So it's just now wilding out crazy emotions with your family, with your mom, with the way that you're not doing nothing for it's all over the place, and emotionally just you just throwing the emotions on to others, electric, just random. And and we've already gone through a somewhat mass psychosis in society already, so this may be drawing emotions up from all the trauma that we just went through as well. So this does not jive with Mars and Leo at this degree because you're trying to work on yourself. You're trying to make yourself happy. You're trying to do life in a better way that's good for you. And this crazy emotion that is just bubbling up and boiling up and just electrically, this can definitely be nervous system shock and emotional shock. And this does not jive with I'm just trying to be happy here. And Uranus and Cancer is like, nobody's going to be happy right now because I can't handle my own emotions. So best of luck. Then we have a trine to Neptune in Aries, which is retrograde at 17 degrees. This is a nice aspect because spiritually for yourself, you're in alignment with your actions. God wants you to be happy, and you want to be happy so that you can better praise God. And this is for you, and this is a very beautiful alignment. It is absolutely a reprieve for the fire signs. Like, yes, I am in the right place. I am doing the right things for my passions and for the things that fire me up and for the things that I enjoy and that I want to do. And it's quick and it's fun and it's enjoyable. So enjoy this moment, especially fire people. We have then a semi-square to Saturn in Cancer. That's going to be at 4 degrees and Mars is going to be at 19 degrees. This semi-square, now Saturn is wisdom, father time, the right thing to do. In Cancer, it is mothering, nurturing, emotions. And Cancer is the first water sign of the zodiac, so they do not know how to handle their emotions. And in this placement, it's like, I am unstable, ungrounded. Your parents are probably going through a lot, or other parental figures that you see in your life may be going through a lot. And that's not going to jive with your happy-go-lucky, I'm just trying to work things out and, trying to motivate myself to be better. That's not aligning. That's and it's not, again, it's not as big as a square. It doesn't last nearly as long either. This is just like a mild moment of insanity that, I'm just trying to be happy here. And Saturn in Cancer is like, your parents are unhappy, emotional. They're probably going through a lot of health crises and that is not aligning with you're just trying to do for you. And they're having all of these, like, they can't handle aging. It's emotionally traumatizing for them to be at this older age. And it's like, I don't even, like, yes, you want to take care of them and you want them to be happy, but it's bogging you down majorly. Then we have an inconjunct to Jupiter in Capricorn. Let's just, all right, random. Why is Jupiter there? Because it has to be, but like at this moment, okay. So Jupiter is expansion, Capricorn is money. Let's face it, they're all about that money and climbing to the top. I do have a whole Jupiter in Cancer video if you'd like to check that out. This inconjunct here is this bigger thing with your finances and trying to scale the social ladder and trying to keep everything, it's like growing and keeping it together and keeping it stable and focused. And like earth people, especially Capricorns, have things on lock. They're prepared, they're very prepared. And with Mars in Leo just trying to be happy, it's like this whole expansion with finances and money and being the one to climb up, your job may not be aligning with what's truly going to be making you happy. And what is truly making you happy may not be aligning with the bigger roles and responsibilities you may have at work or whatever it is that you're working towards. Then we have a square to Taurus retrograde, or Chiron retrograde in Taurus. That's at 26 degrees. So this is about healing your home. And so your parents may be moving into your home with all the Cancer stuff, with Saturn and Cancer specifically happening. And so your home life, something is not interacting well with your home life and how that makes you happy and what's making you happy. It's not going to align with what is now coming into your home. And you've been trying to heal your home. You've been trying to help other people in their homes. You've been trying to learn how to heal what makes you comfortable, heal your values, heal your morals, all of that. And that is not aligning, especially financially, with things that make you happy. And what makes you happy is not aligning with what's going on in your home and your values. And so if you don't want your parents to move in, or if you don't want these emotional things happening, and you kind of have to accept, like, this is one of those moments you don't have a choice. You have to accept what's happening and learn how to be happy through it. And that's really difficult. And all the same, what's happening in your home, you may not want it there, but where else are they going to go? What else are they going to do? It's about healing, but and your values, and you do value this and you do want this to heal and get fixed, but it doesn't make you happy and you don't actively want to work towards this, and that, like, you would rather there be a different solution. Then Mars goes into Virgo approximately September 12th, 2032. Thank you so much for watching. Press all the buttons.